What's up guys, it's Magaz here connecting you to Airsoft. Today we're going off the cuff. I've got no script, no teleprompter, no idea what I'm going to say, so I'm winging it. But I'm talking about a piece of kit that I've made myself, for the most part anyway. We are talking about my custom homemade plate carrier. This plate carrier is one of many that I have made myself on my janky as fuck sewing machine, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. I built this one because I play on Tan Team when I go to Air 500. I wanted to wear Desert Night Grid, but Desert Night Grid is a green dominant camouflage pattern. So I figured the best bet would be to custom design a tan dominant version of Desert Night Grid, have it printed on some fabric, and then make some gear from it. And that's what we have here. The history of this plate carrier goes all the way back to my early plate carriers, which I started off with a cheap Chinese FSBE clone, which got for about 30 or 40 quid from some random eBay account, and it took like 6 months to arrive. Then I upgraded from that to an old school Pentagon plate carrier, which was really solid until it got shot in the buckles, kind of like this one here, and then I had to do a lot of aftermarket repairs to make it serviceable again. And then from there I moved on to the Viper VX buckle up plate carrier, which absolute game changer, fantastic piece of kit, but they're only available in like 4 or 5 different colors. So I decided at that point I'd basically disassemble the VX plate carrier, draw a pattern loosely based on it, and then just get some Peacock hybrid DPM fabric, and then I basically made a perfectly serviceable plate carrier that you've probably seen me use many times in the past. From then on, I kind of wanted to amend the design a little bit, change how the shoulder straps fit and all that sort of stuff. Change the size of a few different things so the plates could fit in better. Basically just got different fabric. I've done one in woodland DPM, blue DPM, my sort of dodgy take on Allman DPM. I started one in Night Splinter, but I really didn't like how the pattern was looking, so I kind of abandoned that one. Started one in grey, started one in Op 4 camo, the Red Dawn Op 4 camo. Basically I've done a whole heap of them, and I've tried to improve the design step by step as I've gone along to get to this, which is pretty much the final design. There are a couple of things that I'm going to change on the next one I'm going to build. The next one I'm going to build is going to be in some kind of DPM, whether that's Dragon Tropical or something like this Bahrain DPM. I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe another Peacock one that's closer to this spec than the others. But let's go through this. It's kind of similar in some aesthetics to the VX plate carrier, and it is also kind of similar to things like the Spiritus plate carriers, where it's a basic system. So it's 2 plate bags, front and back, connected just by Velcro on the shoulder straps. It has padding over the shoulder straps. On the back, it has 5 rows of molly loops with a cover down here, which attaches the cummerbund, and then it's the same on the front. It has the placard. I did make a placard myself originally. I replaced it with an F9 gear ammo hub. I will talk more about that in a minute. And then that covers the cummerbund underneath. At the bottom is a dangler pouch that I also made. So starting from the top, the plate bags. They are made out of a nylon fabric. So the fabric itself, I designed the pattern in Photoshop, basically using issue proper Desert Night Grid pattern as a base and just redrawing it and then colouring it to this sort of dark tan and goldy brown sort of colour over a tan base. I then uploaded that to a website called PrintFab. PrintFab is a company where you can just basically print whatever you want onto fabric. I've used it many times for a bunch of different projects. Usually I go for a canvas, like a heavy canvas fabric on all of the plate carriers I've made. But for this one, I wanted to try this waterproof nylon. Now, I have found out since that it is definitely not. Like, if you look at this through night vision, it glows up white. It is terrible. So ironic really that it's night grid pattern that was supposed to obviously evade night vision, and it is made out of a fabric that just glows in the dark. Basically, I used the nylon fabric and then I backed it with some OD Green 1000D Cordura. So it is a really heavy duty thick plate carrier. On the back of it, I have used some, I think it's 6mm or 4mm air spacer mesh. So it's not like fully 3D thick, but it does allow a little bit of airflow through under here, and it provides a little bit of padding Underneath that again is the 1000 Decor Dura, and then I didn't put any of the nylon under that because I didn't want to waste any of the printed fabric. The front plate bag is basically just designed to hold your standard small size plates. I have inside it foam replica plates that come with the VX buckle up plate carrier, which is what I kind of measured it all off originally, which is why my actual plate, which is in here, didn't fit. Now this plate isn't a proper ballistic plate. It came from some police riot armor that I had. I bought when I was like 15, 16. I've had it for a very long time. I actually cut it down with the circular saw so it'd fit more like a shooter's cut plate rather than the giant plate that it was. Apparently it will stop 12 gauge birdshot, nothing higher. Obviously that's all I really need. I don't even need that for playing airsoft. It's just nice to have this in there. I do have the actual soft armor inserts that go underneath it as well, but I wanted it to be a little bit lighter and a little bit more breathable, so I used the Viper inserts instead. The first iterations of the plate carrier that I built, I made to measure to this, not this, and you can see if we line it up on the back, this is about ½ an inch bigger than the fake plates, so they just don't fit, which is a pain in the ass. So you can see inside, that's the green 1000 Decor Dura underneath, and then it just folds under, Velcros into place. Fuck. Right, so the plate bag up front, now we've seen the inside, we've seen where the plate lives. It's set up like your standard Spiritus or Viper rig, where you've got your placard, which attaches by 2 quick release buckles. You notice on this one, the first game I took this to, AF500, was a CQB game. Somebody shot this buckle, so I'm gonna have to cut this buckle out and add another one in, which is a pain in the ass, but it's one of them things you gotta deal with when you're playing airsoft. The cummerbund here is a Viper elastic cummerbund. Is my favorite kind of cummerbunds because you get them super tight or super loose. You're not kind of restricted to one size. You can see the front plate bag's super simple. It's basically an entire Velcro panel. There's actually a blanking patch just up here, so basically the entire front is essentially a giant Velcro loop panel. I made this blanking panel here so it's not all green. You have that pattern up there. Then you have your 2 quick release buckles. Up top, wanted to make an admin pouch just up here for the ID patch and just to put random little items in. I've done this on a few of these plate carriers now. This one I measured too small, so it is super small, and it's not really ideal for getting anything in and out because it's so friggin' tight. On the next one I'm going to make it a lot longer so it goes most of the way across there. So you've got a much bigger admin panel in there that you can put maps and documents and stuff in. If we turn it over now, you'll be able to see the breathable mesh on the other side, which just allows that heat to kind of flow through. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're wearing this indoors and you've got all your gear on, you're running, you're gonna start sweating and it's gonna build up a lot of sweat and it's gonna stink afterwards. So make sure you clean it or at least give it a blast with some Febreze. The rear plate bag is basically the same. It's got the air mesh underneath, but then it has the 5 rows of molly. You notice this top one here, I didn't actually stick it in far enough and it has torn out, which is no good. I'm thinking of just cutting that one bit off. It's not a big issue. I do use that to sort of keep the cable for my Baofeng nice and tidy. So the bottom here is the flap, which holds the cummerbund in place. So again, there's just loop Velcro down there. Actually added another row of hook and loop onto the cummerbund down here, so it actually holds into place without being tied in, and then it just fastens down. I do use one of these pouches on here, of course, here to hold my Baofeng radio, and that's kind of guided up the molly loops at the back and then through the shoulder strap. The shoulder pad itself is another super simple design. It's just an oblong, really. You can see the white backing of the fabric there. So this part here folds over, this bit folds over, and then it just goes on like that. So this is designed just to give your shoulder a tiny little extra bit of padding. It's not an awful lot. I'm thinking in future to actually add some foam inserts underneath, so it gives you an extra proper bit of padding. It does help out a little more rather than it just being the 2-inch webbing that I'm using to hold the plate bags together. And it kind of just finishes it off, rather than it just looking unfinished, just having this on there. You'll see on the left one as well, there is a little Union flag just there. And then I have routed my mic all the way through here. On the next version that I make, I am going to put a little piece of 1-inch webbing just there, like a molly loop, so I can actually hook this onto there. The plan with this was to just, there's a rotatable clip on the back, and I was originally clipping it to this. I had a little bit of extra cable to be able to do that, but it was just falling off all the time and dangling about, so I just leave it dangling for now. Anyway, so on the next plate carrier, it will be fixed like that, and it's going to be a little more solid. The dangler pouch, now this, it's a little bit rougher than a plate carrier. It actually has started to split at the back, so it needs a little bit of repair work doing to it. But so this, I wanted basically my own take on the dangler pouch and the scroll pouch, and this was the last thing that I made, so I was kind of in a rush to get it finished before the event. I'm not really going to show you the inside of this because it's all completely unfinished in there, and the fabric in there is made of a camo pattern that I designed and had printed for another secret project that will be coming to the channel in the near future, but I can't reveal it just yet. But inside, basically, it's just a big open space, and then there is a compartment here that I can show you that has got spacer mesh on both sides, and it is double thick padded. That's where my phone goes. So the phone is in there behind like 1/2 inch thick of padding, and then there's this pocket up front as well. So obviously the screen's going to be facing towards me, and that's going to take any impact that hits that out of it. It basically does the job really well. I also put an admin panel on the front for my team patch, a little Union flag down there. Super basic design really. I could have definitely spent a little bit more time on this and made it a little less shit, but you got to do what you got to do with the time you got, and sometimes you ain't got a lot of time. But yeah, that just goes on the front there, just gives me an extra little bit of space to store random crap. Like my phone, you just put a spare LiPo in there as well. Which is where you want a LiPo in case it explodes, right next to your crotch. Perfect place. And then obviously the last piece of this, or second to the last piece. So the F9 Gear ammo hub is my placard of choice. I did make my own placard, but it was just slightly off spec and it annoyed me. I also wanted to add an admin panel to it, and I added the admin panel in between the magazines and the body, rather than in front of the magazines. And the issue I had with that was it meant all the weight was kind of leaning forwards, and when I was running it was flopping a lot, and you don't want your shit flopping about when you're running. So I kind of scrapped that off and swapped it out for this, and this is a product I've been meaning to do a video on for a long while, the F9 Gear ammo hub. It does just look like a basic bitch placard from a distance. It does have a lot of features that I think are really well thought out, and I'm surprised a lot of other placards don't have out of the bag. For instance, like these are completely removable, and the straps that you have with it, you can just fold them away, and they're also Velcro, so when you do put them in, you put your magazine retention in there, they are in there solid. The front Velcro is all made of 1-inch webbing, so it allows, in between each piece of webbing, it to be a laser cut molly panel. So this is an entire panel of molly, but it's disguised. So you can actually add extra magazine pouches on there. It's the same on the side. You got 1-inch molly, 1-inch molly, and all along the bottom. So you can add extra pouches all over wherever you want. It is a really well thought out piece of kit that I don't think gets enough limelight. And yeah, I'll probably do a full video on this at some point in the future, but for now I use it with a Viper mag insert, depending on which magazines I'm using. At the minute it's got the 5.56 one in there, so that just clips back onto the front there, and then that's essentially the whole plate carrier. When I run this at big events, I do like to put this TMC mini map on the back. So this obviously allows me, if I'm running the HPA, to carry my tank and my line out of there. It also gives me the option to carry a shitload more magazines in there, or in between here, if I put another insert in there, carry 2 AI mags in there. Just a bunch of kit, hydration, whatever. At AR500 I had my hydration bladder in this and it was a game changer, absolute lifesaver. With that attached on the back, it increases the amount of gear I can carry. But so now we've taken a look at how the plate carrier is put together and how it's built. Let's take a look at the load capacity. Up front, you got space for 3 AR magazines, 4 MP5 magazines, or 2 like G3 magazines if that's what you're carrying. Predominantly, I pretty much always run an AR, so I've got 3 AR mag pouches up there. In the cummerbund, I can fit 2 extra magazines, or usually I run an extra magazine and then the Quake grenade, and then an extra magazine over this side, sometimes 2 depending on how many I'm running. But like I said, on the back of the carrier, I have the mini map. I usually put 3 or 4 extra magazines in there if it is a long event, which increases the amount of magazines I can carry exponentially. So that's pretty much it. That's everything there is to know about my janky little plate carrier. This isn't the last time you'll see it. You're definitely going to see it in gameplay videos and other review videos where I'm doing full kit reviews. And keep an eye out for the other plate carriers. Like you'll probably seen in some gameplay footage or shots on my Instagram the Oman DPM one. You'll definitely have seen the Op4 Red Dawn one, and the Peacock DPM one is the one that I've worn most out of all of these. You'll probably seen that in a lot of the photographs on my Instagram or in the gameplay footage. When I go into the selfie camera, you'll definitely see it looking back. Going forwards, obviously I'm going to make some more of these plate carriers in the future, and they're going to be basically varieties of DPM, because that's basically all I'm going to be wearing this next season is DPM. Now I know a lot of you are thinking, why go out and make your own plate carrier when there are literally hundreds of options out on the market, ranging from your super cheap 20 quid AliExpress plate carrier all the way up to your multiple hundreds Cry, JPC or Spiritus placard based rig or whatever. Well, part of that is I just really enjoy making stuff. I've always loved being behind the sewing machine and creating my own clothing, modifying my own clothing, like this shirt for instance. I've done a red mod on this, and a lot of my pants. These pants that I'm wearing right now are the Pentagon Wolf, and they only had 32 waist, 32 leg, and I'm a friggin' hobbit, 28 waist, 30 legs, so I had to modify these to fit. But I did it because I wanted the pants to fit and I enjoy doing it. So it's the same with the plate carrier. I couldn't find a plate carrier in the pattern that I wanted. Nobody was making one unless I'd go to somebody like maybe Hub City Outdoors or Panda Tac or USV Gear. But they would charge significantly more than it cost me to make this. Basically this just cost me the amount it cost for the fabric and then just the parts I had from other plate carriers. So it's a no-brainer. Obviously there's my time and energy and effort put into that as well, but it's a lot of fun. And if you guys don't know how to sew, I'd recommend you go out and learn as well, because not only is it cool for making your own gear like these plate carriers and mending your clothing and fixing stuff, but it is an important life skill and just something you should probably learn, because you never know. In the apocalypse, you might rip your pants and then it's all well having this Gucci gear, but if you've got a blown out crotch in your pants, you don't know how to fix it, you're going to be walking about with your junk on show, and them zombies, they're like a good bit of meat hanging, don't they? So that might be the first thing they go for. Anyway, if you've got any questions about the plate carrier, go ahead, drop them down below and I'll answer them. If you've got any suggestions for different modifications or concepts I should look into when I'm making my next plate carrier, or if you think of a camo pattern I should do for the next one, let me know down below and I'll take a look at it. If you want to support the channel, you can do that by liking this video. That'll let people know, let the algorithm know that this is the kind of content you want to see. Hit subscribe, hit the real subscribe button, which is that bell right next to it. And if you want to support the channel monetarily, like these awesome guys have done throughout history, you can go to patreon.com/cvmpc and join up to the lowest tier for $1 a month, and you'll get to see me panic because I forgot to mention you guys in a video and be like, fuck, and make some content especially for you, which is always good fun. Anyway, that's it. Next video we're going to talk about my helmet, not that one. But if you want to see any other videos about kit rundowns, gear reviews and stuff like that, check out this playlist right here. And there's probably a gameplay video on screen as well. As always, I'm Magaz, and remember kids, the air may be soft, but our balls are hard. Really need a drink. Not that kind of drink. I haven't done that kind of drink in like 15 years or something, but